According to many fans, Doctor Who has died and there is no saving it. Now, from an outsider looking in, I'll be real, I thought Doctor Who died when they had decided to have a woman play Doctor Who purely for political propaganda reasons, and then did that episode The Timeless Children, which even to non-Doctor Who fans like myself has heard about the infamous reputation that episode garnered for destroying the canon of Doctor Who. But that's not enough, because if you haven't heard, the 60th anniversary is filled with nothing but LGBT propaganda. And obviously, I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I'll go ahead and say it. Ain't no problem if you're LGBT, couldn't care less, but let's be real, shoving it into every facet of media, it's getting real old real quick. Maybe just focus on writing some good stories instead of political pandering that 97% of people, believe it or not, do not give a damn about. In fact, most people are actively against because it destroys the escapism of their favorite franchises. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and according to many outlets and X users, trolls are review bombing the new Doctor Who special, the Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, because yes, we're celebrating 60 years of the classic sci-fi television show that everyone and their mother, except for me apparently, has seen at least one episode of, and nobody is having a good time with it. So let's get into this article. Trolls are review bombing the Doctor Who special because of its trans storyline. Before we read through here, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because subscribing to my channel and channels like mine, channels that do fight against the woke mind virus going on in Hollywood and in nerd culture in general, is the only way we have of fighting them besides voting with our wallets. That's all we got. Vote with your wallet and actually subscribe to these channels and get the message out there. Share these videos so they have got no choice but to listen to us, especially if they want to, I don't know, make money again. Hit that subscribe button and let's roll on through here. The episode was generally well received otherwise, although trans Doctor Who fans did have their own critiques. If even trans fans had their own critiques, then maybe it wasn't actually well received otherwise. In fact, last I checked, the special was sitting at a 47% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now that does beg the question, if it's just all bigots review bombing it, that means one of two things. Either there's a lot more bigots out there than you give credit for, considering you're always talking about how it's a small but vocal minority. Most people aren't anti-trans, most people aren't transphobes, they're a small minority. Either there's a lot more than you think to make this entire special drop to a 47%, or this is actually the majority of people and they're not transphobic, they just want good stories. I'll let you decide which direction this article, them, is probably going to take it. But, I got my sneaking suspicion since this is a very pro-LGBT outlet. I mean, that's just right there openly on their front page. Trolls are review bombing Doctor Who's latest episode for introducing a central trans character and storyline. The first of three Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, The Star Beast, marked Heartstopper star Yasmine Finney's first appearance as Rose Noble, the trans teenage daughter of fan favorite Who companion Donna Noble, played by Catherine Tate. The episode, which was released on November 25th, has been well received on Rotten Tomatoes. It scored over 90% with critics, but its audience score, which is based on more than 250 user ratings, is a mediocre 52%. And again, that has changed by the time of me recording this. I don't know what it's at, but it was at 47 last I said. Also, I've told you guys before on this channel, I don't like to cover things unless it's something that I'm truly passionate about. So, as I've openly talked about how I do not give a damn about Doctor Who, you might be saying, Leon, why you covering this? You doing this for the anti-woke clicks? You trying to get in on that blingage? No, here's why I'm covering this. Because while I do not care about Doctor Who, believe it or not, I actually care about Doctor Who fans. Legitimate Doctor Who fans who've been watching it for years and are seeing something they love sullied and destroyed right before their very eyes. Because this is what happened to me with the Marvel comics, with Star Wars, and with pretty much every single other nerdy facet that I've been in love with for God knows how many years. Specifically, Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. So while I have no affection for Doctor Who, in fact, I've probably got negative affection for Doctor Who, considering how, 8th grade girls ruined it in 2012 with it being an overly obsessive topic, and then talking about how hot David Tennant was. Yes, that was incredibly annoying. However, as somebody that experienced the downtrodden ruin of all these franchises I've loved, it really does suck to see it happening to other nerds who love something different than me. So yeah, I'm able to put my petty nerd wars aside to fight the common enemy that is modern day woke mind virus infecting nerd culture. So by all means, we're going to cover this, and I'm going to put my disdain for Doctor Who aside to fight alongside you, because god damn it, I want you to have your fun nerdy products back just as much as I I want mine back. Avoid, one reviewer wrote. They even have an alien that has preferred pronouns. Stop pushing this stuff on kids. That's really the whole problem here. That's what Nick Merckx was canceled for, and that's all a lot of us have been saying for a long time is leave it out of children's. I mean, we got this special here that openly says the trans teenage daughter of fan favorite Who. This character, from what I've gathered and from what Golden Age Geek, subscribe to him on YouTube, said on my podcast yesterday, this character is not an adult character. We have a literal child who is identifying as trans. Now, you're telling me that that is not them attempting to push an ideology? Of course one user is saying they're trying to push this stuff on your kids. That is absolutely what's happening. They are preying on the underdeveloped prefrontal cortex of children to get this message out there and to try and harm them in a way that, let's be real, is probably irreparable. Now, there's a lot of things out there that are going to harm kids in ways that are irreparable. Too much McDonald's is probably going to harm your kid in a way that's irreparable, but let's be real. Just because one is, mental, you can't see it, and one is physical, you can see the kid turning into a fat tub of lard, both are equally as bad, so both should probably be called out. But they're going to look at this and say, we're championing this, we're making sure that the world is a better place. Now, regardless whether their intentions are actually good or if they've got some nefarious scheme, I don't know, I don't care. We all know where this is going in the long run, and once again, it is political propaganda that you are chastised and burned at the stake for not adhering to, and that is exactly what we need to fight against, and you need to fight against it to the last. If kids weren't involved, I wouldn't give a damn less. If you're an adult, do what you want, but that's not what this is about when you've got trans-identifying children in your TV show. Detractors also launched the hashtag #RipDoctorWho on X after the special dropped in order to further air the complaints about, among other things, the fact this series that revolves around an alien who regularly changes bodies would dare invoke pronouns. Now, the way they're trying to gaslight you here, the way they're trying to make you sound like you're the fool because, oh, it's such a silly show. It's about an alien who regularly changes bodies. Why? They're upset that he dare invokes pronouns. That's not the crux of it, and you know that, because no one in their right mind, when the show was airing in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, or when it made its comeback in the early aughts, no one in their right minds thought that they could identify as somebody who could change their body and invoke pronouns. Nobody had this thought process that Doctor Who was real. They didn't take lessons away from it that were, obviously you're going to take away your general, hey, this might be good for society, this might be good for individuals, this might be a positive way to live your life. General messages that can be applied to really any sort of artistic medium. When you read Spider-Man and you take away, with great power comes great responsibility, that's a good message to take away, but you're not identifying with the idea that you've got spider powers and that you can whip your webs through a city that you happen to live in. However, when you start putting these dangerous ideologies into these shows where you see, oh, look at that little girl, that child identifying as trans, that's a whole lot different, and they're trying to gaslight you into pretending that they're the same thing, when that is absolutely not the case. Doctor Who casting director Andy Pryor responded to this backlash on X on Sunday, November 6th, writing, "Just stop by to say that on Doctor Who, or any of our work, we don't work hard to cast inclusively for publicity. We do it because we like stories, and stories should speak for all of us and include all of us, and if one person feels a little less alone, then thumbs up." Well, I like the fact that you're admitting you don't work hard to do it, because yeah, we can all tell. It's very easy. You'll just pick any random chick with a dick up off the street and throw them in your show. But you are absolutely doing it for publicity. You're doing it because it'll make you look good. You think that it will get you clicks and retweets, and maybe, just maybe, you think it's going to translate to viewers. How you could think that after the show has had abysmal ratings for the last 3 years, give or take, is beyond me. But that's why you're doing it. Let's not pretend that you aren't capitalists. Don't get me wrong. You have your woke liberal agendas in mind, but you are still capitalists. You want to make money, and you think there's an avenue to do so here, even though it's proven time and time again that that is not the case. In the Star Beast, Donna is shown to be fiercely supportive of her daughter, telling off transphobic bullies and promising her, "I would burn down the world for you, darling." Soon afterward, Donna's own mother, Sylvia, accidentally misgenders Rose during a conversation with Donna and immediately apologizes, telling her daughter, "I just get so clumsy." It's Rose who first befriends the Meep, an alien creature that has crashed in London. Later, when the show's eponymous doctor, played once again by David Tennant, refers to Meep as he, Rose interjects asking, "You're assuming he as a pronoun." They really pulled a "did you just assume my gender?" unironically. Oh my god, this is glorious. Shame on you, Golden Age Geek, for not bringing this up on the show yesterday. They genuinely pulled I am flabbergasted. I love it. This is glorious. Look, guys. They're calling this a review bomb, and if you want to consider this a review bomb, then go for it. Turn this into Hiroshima and Nagasaki for all I care, because you want to know what review bombing is? Review bombing is your way as an audience member, and more importantly, as a paying customer, to show these companies what you do and don't want. Now, frankly, I'm not inclined to believe this is a review bomb, not in the slightest. To me, this seems like people who have been fans for a very long time, and they've gone in to speak their mind about what they feel about what's happened to their franchise, and just because it all happens to be negative or majority negative doesn't mean it's a review bomb. You could have just made something so inherently crappy that people are aligned in their views. When you've got something that has a 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, you're telling me that's not a review bomb for the positive? There's no way you got, I don't know how many critics to collectively agree that this was a 100% perfect product with no issues to it. That just seems a bit too far-fetched. But no, you're not going to call that a positive review bomb, but you'll call out the audience, the paying customer, and the people that actually buy the merch and go to the conventions and spend money on it. You'll call them fascists, you'll call them bigots, you'll call them transphobes, and you'll accuse them of review bombing when they could very well just be giving their honest opinion. So you know what? If you want to call that a review bomb, if you want to do to that word what you've done to Nazi and racist and bigot and all these other words, dilute them of their true meaning, then go for it, have at it, because nobody takes the term seriously anymore. Frankly, I'm all for review bombing. I think review bombing should be done even more, because the more people that stand up and show these corporations, we would like to spend money on your products, but not when you give us this, you would think would be a wake-up call for these corporations to change. So I guess we're just gonna have to keep doing it until it works or until they go out of business, whichever happens first. And let's be real, do we care which happens first? Well, yes, actually, because we want this stuff saved. We want it to be good. We don't want apathy to set in, because when apathy sets in and you don't care about fighting this fight and you don't care about fighting for the things you love, then you will never win these wars. And that's what we're trying to do, and that's why you should subscribe to my channel and, of course, channels like mine. Subscribe because we are the front lines to getting this woke mind virus out of pop culture, and it is incredibly important that we do so. But until then, those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so you can help me out with that. You can also go ahead and find me on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, because remember, it's all here in the nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.